For the Heights on the SEC Network. We're at Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky as the 6th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats host the also 6th-ranked Florida Gators. It is going to be a good one. I'm John Roethlisberger, and I'm joined by one of the greatest American gymnasts in history, Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. Alicia, this is going to be a great battle. We have two 6th-ranked teams. They're tied in the rankings, and it just seems fitting for the SEC to have these two teams battling it out in the same rankings. For Kentucky, they just blast up the rankings. Their highest ranking ever. Florida, it's familiar ground to them.
They're really setting the way for the SEC to really set high standards, and Kentucky is doing everything they can to win a national title. That is their goal. So they're making strides toward that. Being ranked at 11th in the preseason and then moving their way up and being tied with the formerly #1 University of Florida is huge for them.
Yeah, you can see right there tied up in that 6th spot, and they've got some outstanding individual performers tonight. We're going to have them across the board, but two that stand out to you.
Two of my favorites are, the University of Florida, Rachel Gowie. She's a former national team member and currently sharing the #1 spot in the nation ranking for the balance beam. And then for the University of Kentucky, as we moved on, Molly Korth. She was a standout freshman last year, the SEC Freshman of the Year. And she's just, honestly, she's consistent. And she didn't have an off or postseason with Kentucky last year, so it was a little bit of adjustment. Coach Garrison said she was a little bit behind based on how she was coming in last year, but this is her time to shine. She loves competition season, and she's ready to put up the scores that Kentucky needs.
She seems like she's picked up right where she left off, and there's going to be a lot of storylines tonight, but here are just a few things to watch for. Obviously, we have a battle among the top teams in the NCAA standings. These two teams, it's going to be fun to watch. One time in history has Kentucky beat Florida. Can they make it two? And also a mix of leadership in these teams and a lot of returning routines for both teams. In fact, all of their returning mixed with some freshmen.
They did not lose any of their competition routines this past season, so they not only are building on what they already have, they're adding in a great deal of talent and potential with these incoming freshmen.
Also, we can see the Kentucky Wildcat goals are a lot different than they were a decade or two ago. They want to win a national championship, and we're also going to talk about a great matchup coming up later tonight, number 10 Alabama and number 2 LSU.
1, 2, 3. Hey, wait. Boomerang on my side.
Kentucky is having a good time. Meanwhile, the Florida Gators are going to have their work cut out for them tonight, and they know that they have their work cut out for them. They're not taking this meet lightly because the Kentucky Wildcats came to play as we get into our lineups for each rotation. The crowd is building here in Memorial Coliseum, and for the introduction of the teams, we're going to go to Wildcat PA announcer Bill Ellis.
Teams first for the Gators, a junior from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, Alicia Boren. A senior from Dallas, Texas, Kennedy Baker. A sophomore from Urbandale, Iowa, Rachel Gowie. A freshman from Dallas, Texas, Alyssa Bowman. A freshman from Bayville, New Jersey, Jasmine Foberg. A freshman from Morrisville, North Carolina, Nicole Webb. A sophomore from Waterdown, Ontario, Megan Chant. A freshman from Marietta, Georgia, Megan Skaggs. A senior from Holly Springs, North Carolina, Rachel Slocum. A senior from Midlothian, Virginia, Alex McMurtry. A junior from Orlando, Florida, Amanda Cheney. A sophomore from Hamilton, Ohio, Amelia Hundley. A sophomore from Pembroke Pines, Florida, Sierra Alexander. The Gators are led by assistant coaches Adrian Burdett and Owen Field, the head coach of the Gators, Jenny Rowland. Blue Nation, get on your feet. Make some noise for your 2018 Kentucky Gymnastics team. First, for the Wildcats, a senior from Batavia, Illinois, Corey Breckenmacher. A freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, Ella Warren. A freshman from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, Megan Monfredi. A junior from Suwanee, Georgia, Katie Stewart. A junior from Covina, California, Aubrey Rosa. A freshman from French Settlement, Louisiana, Madison Averett. A freshman from Johns Creek, Georgia, Catherine Marianos. A freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio, Allison Snyder. A sophomore from Cambridge, Wisconsin, Molly Corp. A sophomore from Midlothian, Texas, Haley Poland. A freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina, Mackenzie Harmon. A senior from Newark, Ohio, Katie Carlisle. A sophomore from Douglasville, Georgia, Aaron Allen. A junior from Tyler, Texas, Sydney Duke. A junior from Waldorf, Maryland, Danae Davis. A junior from Foxborough, Massachusetts, Alex Highland. A sophomore from Cypress, California, Elena Kwan. And a junior from Stillwater, Oklahoma, Katrina Coca. The Wildcats are led by assistant coaches Chuck Dickerson and Rachel Garrison, the head coach of the Wildcats, Tim Garrison. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand as we honor America and those who protect and defend her freedom with the playing of our national anthem. Fans, let's welcome tonight's judges, Jennifer Amos, Jeannie Hiesel, Mary Lou Dillard, Debbie Klotz, and your meet referee, Joyce Wallace.
Stay with us because it's going to be number 6 Florida versus number 6 Kentucky here at Memorial Coliseum live on the SEC Network next. Last week, the Florida Gators came out strong in front of a first ever sellout crowd in Gainesville. Senior Alex McMurtry was outstanding on the bar. She won that event. Meanwhile, sophomore Rachel Gowie put up a near perfect 9.95, but in the end, LSU edges the Gators by .125. For the Kentucky Wildcats, number 6 visited number 11 Arkansas. They were led by Katrina Koch on bars and Molly Korth on vault with a career high 9.95. She won that event as well as the floor exercise with a 9.9. Meanwhile, junior Sydney Dukes, she was the co-champ on balance beam with a 9.9. And the University of Kentucky puts up the 3rd highest score in program history and gets their first win in Arkansas. And you can see they are sitting in 6th place, tied with the Florida Gators. What a time to have a matchup, and a very familiar sight at the top of the standings. Oklahoma sits in the number 1 spot. Welcome to Friday Night Heights, presented by Belk. We are at Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky as the 6th-ranked Wildcats host the also 6th-ranked Florida Gators. Hello, everyone. I'm John Roethlisberger alongside American great Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. Lauren Sisler will also be joining us from the sidelines throughout tonight's competition. Okay. In front of the first ever sellout crowd in Gainesville, it was Alex McMurtry on bars. She won that event. Rachel Gowie, the sophomore, puts up a near perfect 9.95 to win the balance beam, but in the end, LSU edges Florida in Gainesville by .125. For the number 6 Kentucky Wildcats, they visited number 11 Arkansas, and they were led by Katrina Koch on bars. She wins that event. Molly Korth, the sensational sophomore, wins vault with a 9.95 and goes to floor and gets a 9.9 and wins that event. Sydney Duke wins beam with a 9.9, and in the end, University of Kentucky puts up the 3rd highest score in program history and gets their first win in Fayetteville, Arkansas. You can see the rankings right now in Kentucky and Florida. We have a rare 6 versus 6 matchup tonight. It's going to be good, and a very, very familiar sight at the top of the rankings. The Oklahoma Sooners ranked number 1 in the nation. Welcome to Friday Night Heights, presented by Belk. We're at the Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky as the 6th-ranked Wildcats host the 6th-ranked Florida Gators. Hello, everyone. I'm John Roethlisberger, joined by one of America's best ever, Alicia Sacramone-Quinn. We'll also be joined by Lauren Sisler from the sidelines throughout tonight's competition. And we're going to get right into it. You can see the Kentucky vault lineup, and they're going to be led off by junior Alex Highland.
Alex Highland is a local girl from Massachusetts, so I hold her near and dear to my heart. Hometown of Foxborough, just like the New England Patriots, John. Big, almost stuck Yurchenko full. She just should have done the step and turn, so she could have saved that 1/10
It was
or half a tenth.
Pretty darn clean, though.
Big vault, nice straight body position. Tried to hold on to it at the end, just had a little bit too much momentum backwards.
But that is a great start. We're going to talk about the scores a little bit as we go through tonight's competition and really the goal for Kentucky on those scores and what's a good score and what's a great score as we go quickly, though, over to bars. And this is senior Kennedy Baker. This is a stacked lineup for Florida.
Kennedy is a former national team member, came from Texas Dreams Gymnastics, where her coach is Kim Zemeskel-Burnett, a fantastic athlete. And she creates great, clean gymnasts where they have good body position. You see her form there. She's got tight legs, perfect handstands. Gives little to the judges to deduct. A blind landing, stuck double front. Beautiful routine. The composition was there. The difficulty was there.
Not sure you can get a better first routine on a rotation than this one.
That's what you're looking for the first person up. You want a clean, hit, solid performer and routine to get the scores building for that last person in the lineup.
So Kennedy Baker all smiles, and she should be. Now we're going to quickly go back over to vault junior. Katrina Coca, she won bars last week for Kentucky. Here she is on vault. She's out of Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yurchenko full, slight pike on that landing. Didn't really stick it, but a good distance, good height. Just needs a little bit tighter body position when her body is coming over the top towards the landing.
She follows Alex Highland's 9.825. That is a season high for Alex. Don't suspect Katrina's score will quite be that high, but another hit as we go back over to bars. This is Alicia Boren, junior out of Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, and North Stars Gymnastics Academy. Her club coach is Tony Gaiman, produced a lot of outstanding junior athletes over the years that have gone on to great college careers. Still waiting for Kennedy Baker's score. Judges might be a little afraid to put up a huge score for that first routine, but man, it's hard to think it's much less than a 9.9, Alicia.
Judges typically don't like throwing those big scores this early on in a competition. It sets kind of a precedent of what you have to live up to. So I'm sure they're having an internal battle with themselves.
A little
trying to
angst. And they do have a new scoring system. I'm being told that it's the first time they've used it in this venue, so hopefully they got the kinks all worked out.
Mounting on the high bar, a nice kip cast handstand to start. Big Tkachev release move over the high bar. Free hip to immediate shoot over or overshoot, as some people call it. Florida's probably a little bit more known for hitting their handstands and making sure their form is impeccable. Dismount could have been a little bit stronger on that stick. This angle is great to see handstand. You have within a 10-degree, so there you'd see it. It's a little bit short if you're going by this measurement. I'll be interested to see if the judges are going to penalize her for that.
And she's following Kennedy Baker's career high, 9.9. She gets a career high in the first spot. Unbelievable. Now Sydney Dukes will be in the third spot. She's following Katrina Coca's 9.7. And in this meet, I'll tell you what, you don't want to count a 9.7.
Yurchenko layout half, blind landing, a little bit difficult there. It doesn't start from a 10.0 anymore. It now starts from a 9.95.
We're going to go back over to the uneven bars, and Lauren Sisler's got something for us.
Hey, you know, the Florida Gators, they're very fortunate to return all the routines this season while adding a strong freshman class. You'll see Jasmine going right now, but those are the ones you really have to look out for. Jenny Rowland says she has to remind these girls that this season is not a sprint, is it a marathon? It's all about pacing and peaking at the right time.
And they have got a luxury of doing that. They have got so much talent. National team members everywhere you look. You can blindfold yourself and throw a tennis ball and you're going to hit a national team member in the Florida Gator gym. I mean, they are stacked. Now again, we're waiting for Alicia Boren's score. Kennedy Baker put up that 9.9. I don't believe this is going to be a 9.9, but it'll still be a decent score. There's head coach Jenny Rowland in her third season. And it's funny, these two teams are both ranked 6th, but Jenny Rowland and Tim Garrison got there in different ways. Jenny takes over a program that was already at the top, but that's tough too, to maintain that top. Meanwhile, Tim Garrison had to build this program to get into the top 10. Interesting paths to where they both are as we look at Jasmine Fogelberg mounting the bars.
Kip cast handstand to toe handstand to pack salto. Nicely controlled, a little bit short on that handstand. Connection big. You never see a Gienger done that often between the bars. I love these type of connections. They're different, they're unique. It helps Jasmine stand apart from the rest of the crowd. Great routine. I love the composition. It's different. It's, you know, it's not your typical NCAA routine you're gonna see every week. Big tripoche, backswing to release move. That's Leg separation is going to get her there in deduction-wise, but those are great bonus points that she's getting up there. And a nice landing on that full twisting double back.
See what they get. Alicia Boren, a 9.775, so not a huge score in the second spot either for Florida. Meanwhile, Danae Davis, the junior out of Waldorf, Maryland, needs a stuck landing here.
Yurchenko full. Not the best form in the air. She had leg separation. She piked down at the end, causing her to have some movement in her feet on the mat instead of being able to take one controlled step. Good distance from the table, soft legs.
And it's interesting that, you know, they've landed these vaults, but they're giving away a lot of little deductions. And they had a 9.7 from Katrina Coca. Sydney Dukes in the third spot puts up a 9.75. So these little things early, you know, you don't lose the meet at the first rotation, but you don't want to get too far behind either.
These are little things that are typically you're seeing more of in the beginning of the season. Closer to mid-postseason, you're going to see these vaults looking to be stuck, and that's what Tim Garrison's doing for. It's about fine-tuning later on in the season and making sure you're not giving anything away for free.
Tim Garrison in his 7th season. And I'm just being told that Kennedy Baker's score was changed to a 9.8, so it's no longer a career high for her. Jasmine Foberg, meanwhile, put up a 9.775. So even though those are just small little changes, it's going to make a big difference in the team score as Rachel Gowie mounts the bars.
Kip pass handstand to a straddled Hindorf. Toe shoot handstand. Hack salto. Nice form on her transitions, on her kick pass and pirouettes. Building momentum for her dismount. Big double layout stuck. That is how you want to do a double layout.
And that was a clean set, start to finish. Rachel Gowie really known for that form and that execution, and you can see why here.
She's a former Chow's gymnast who is known for creating athletes with great form and technique. Big swing, perfectly straight, just enough arch in the body position. That was a beautiful dismount.
So now again, Kentucky has got 3.97 scores. Danae Davis put up a 9.775. Aubrey Rosa trying to make that jump into the 9.8s, maybe into the 9.9s if she can stick this.
Yurchenko full, big jump backwards, leg separation in the air. They're letting the adrenaline of first event get the best of them. They're just not controlling their landings the way we saw them do in warm-up.
A little too much juice.
What we're looking for on vault is you're looking for height and the amplitude. Obviously, the stuck landings are super important. And then start value. Not all vaults are created equal. They don't start from a 10. So you have to make sure you're getting as close to that 10.0 start as possible.
We're looking at sophomore Amelia Humley out of Hamilton, Ohio. She comes from a gym club, CGA, that has produced numerous national team members as well as 2 Olympic champions, Amanda Borden and J.C. Phelps. Mary Lee Tracy is the coach there. He's done an outstanding job. And Amelia, just one of those gymnasts you can't help but like. We saw her before the meet, Alicia, just a smile on her face and just pumped up and ready to go.
Her love for gymnastics is just so apparent that it's like heartwarming to see her. She loves what she's doing, and I think college gymnastics has really lit a new spark in her career. Shapash from low bar to high bar, back to low with a pack salto. A little bit short on that handstand. A Corkina moving from low bar to high bar with a half twist. Big dismount, full twisting double back. Small hop on the landing.
And you know, she's following Rachel Gowie's 9.825, which honestly, it seems a little low. The judges are being tight here, I think, early.
I think they threw that first score, and now they're rolling it back, not wanting to give it anything else. Being a little bit harder than I would expect, and the routines at least we've seen.
Nonetheless, Amelia Humley, nice routine. Aubrey Rosa, who was in the 5th spot for Kentucky on vault, puts up a 9.825, and now the sophomore sensation. Unbelievable as a freshman. She's the reigning freshman of the year in the SEC. Molly Korth, she smoked her vault last week, put up a 9.95, and it was a 10.0 start. I'm not sure quite how she didn't get a 10 on that. It was perfect. But she needs to do another one just like that here. Tim Garrison talked about that 9.85 being the magic score for Kentucky, and they still have not put that up yet in this rotation.
Molly performs one of the few Yurchenko 1.5s in Kentucky's lineup, and you know, judging is subjective, and if they think it's not a 10, they're not going to give her a 10. So it's tough. You have to be literally very perfect. 1.5. That was very nicely done. Not a perfect 10 because she did have that step on a little hop on the landing, but great form, high distance control.
Feels like a 9.9 to me.
9.9. I agree. 9.9. Maybe a 9.925.
Well, if the team judged it, it's going to be higher than a 9.9. They love it, and they should. Molly Korth does what Molly Korth does. Outstanding. We have one gymnast left for Florida. There's mom and dad.
With the fat head.
Kevin, yep.
I wish they had those when I was competing. That would have been great.
They are super fans. This is Alex McMurtry, senior from Midlothian, Virginia, finishing off the rotation for Florida on bars.
Huge release move by Alex. She has amazing lines. I love watching her compete. She makes everything look so effortless and clean. Pretty quick and well-packed routine. Full twisting double back, well above the high bar. Scooched her feet on that landing.
She's going to be mad. I guarantee you she is mad just because of that little hop.
I'm just going to, like, inch my toes forward real quick on this mat. So frustrating. I bet she's, look at that. So much height, so much time to see the floor.
And that has got to be above a 9.9. So we got the first rotation done. When we come back, we're going to take a closer look at two very similar programs, Florida and Kentucky.
Competing for us at the end of last year.
We didn't lose any seniors, so I think that we just added, and the freshmen that came in are ready to go.
The seniors have done a fabulous job of leading this team, of bringing these freshmen in, teaching them, showing them the ways of Florida and what the expectations are.
We've increased the depth a little bit, so that always helps. You know, when you can be competing in the gym and then carry that in competition, I think it's a benefit.
Welcome back to Memorial Coliseum, where the number 6th ranked Kentucky Wildcats are hosting the number 6th ranked Florida Gators. This is Friday Night Heights on the SEC Network. Alicia Sacramone Quinn, you know, both of these teams bring back all of their competing routines from last season, and they add some outstanding young routines. How important is that to a team?
It's very important, and it's very rare. It's not something you get to, the luxury you get to have. Oh, we're going to have all of our competition routines back. You know what you're going to get, but then with this upcoming freshman class, you get potential and you get depth, and you need that desperately when you're going in a postseason and you need to rest some of those legs and come back stronger than ever.
As we see Tim Garrison in his 7th season, Jenny Rowland in their 3rd. They got here in different ways, but man, they're both in that 6th spot, and this is a fun competition after one. Now the freshmen for Florida, that's what jumps out at me. Already 6 gymnasts competing for them in their lineup.
That's very rare at this point in the season. Usually you're saving them or grooming them to be prepared for meet season. They rely heavily on seniors typically, like you see 9 routines, and then for Kentucky, they have a lot of emphasis placed on their sophomore and junior class, where that's where their leadership is.
It's a close one after one. Kentucky with a slight edge, 0.15 over the Florida Gators. We got a long way to go. Next rotation, Florida will be on vault. Rachel Slocum will lead the way there. Meanwhile, on bars, let's keep an eye out for Katrina Coca. So very close after one, 0.15 lead for the Kentucky Wildcats. But we have 3 events to go, and more on one of the best in the business. We've got Lauren Sisler. Lauren?
Hey, when you pull up Alec McMurtry's bio on the Gators website, there's this highlighted field. It's in blue, and it says Career Notes at Florida. And let me tell you, the list goes on and on and on. The accolades that she has achieved while at Florida heading into her senior year is exceptional. As a 15-time All-American and 2017 SEC Gymnast of the Year, her resume extends beyond the gym. She was honored with the 2017 Hondo Award, given to the nation's top collegiate student athlete in their respective sport. McMurtry also the first Gator in any sport to claim the NCAA Elite 90 Award, given to the student athlete with the top GPA. That GPA, a 4.0 in applied physiology and kinesiology. So while keeping up with that perfect GPA, she's also eyeing her first perfect score of the season. Let's see if she can land that 10 tonight.
She is an outstanding young athlete and person. She is the defending NCAA all-around champion. Lauren's right. That bio goes on and on and on. And now Florida will try to make up that 10th and a half with Megan Skaggs leading off on the vault rotation.
Big Yurchenko full, big hop in the landing. Good entry into the table, good form, so she won't get penalized there, but that hop will be at least 1/10 and another 10th for that step she did at the end before she turned to salute.
We'll see what these scores are like, and Alicia, we were a little surprised by the scores for Florida on bars. We thought they might have been a little low. I think the coaches over there in Florida might have felt the same way. We'll see how those scores go throughout the competition, but they got a 10th and a half to make up. You can't look back, you got to look forward. And this is Katie Carlisle leading off for the Wildcats.
Mounting up onto the high bar, line change to big straddle Jaeger. Making sure she's trying to hit those handstands, overshoot to immediate toe circle. A little bit short there. You can see Coach Harrison trying to use his head to get her up. Stuck full twist and double back. Not the highest dismount I've ever seen, but it was definitely well executed.
When you stick the landing, doesn't matter how you look in the air sometimes, and that was pretty darn good. Good start for Katie Carlisle and the Wildcats. Now back over to vault. This is Sierra Alexander. She was a late add in for Alyssa Bauman, so they made a change here in the vault rotation. We'll see if it pays off. Megan Skaggs put up a 9.775 for her vault.
Sierra's one of the tallest gyms at 5'7". Making that Yurchenko full of that much longer, and it was stuck.
That was a huge vault, massive air.
Oh my gosh, that distance is insane. Nice body, opens it up to try to see that landing, which she does. Controls that perfectly. Oh, maybe she did have a small scooch back.
Just a slight hop. That starts from a 9.95. We'll see what the judges decide with that 1/10 slide, probably in the 9.8 range, but it's been tight here. It's been judged tight, I think, on both sides, honestly.
I would say that maybe 9.85. Just because I would say it's probably half a 10th for that small slide of the feet.
So Kentucky still waiting for the bar score for Katie Carlisle. It's got to be a good one. It was a almost perfect routine. Just a 9.75. So maybe the bar judges are just a little more critical here early in the season as Ella Warren, freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, tries to build on that.
Scores are being a little stingy over there. Starting routine, jumping to the high bar, hip cast handstand to blind chain, straddle Jaeger. Free hip to overshoot. A little bit short, trying to hit that handstand on the release move from high bar to low bar. Big double layup dismount, small step. It looked like she could have stuck it and just lost that back foot just a little bit.
So we got a good one here, but coming up next, we got a great one as well. There's Sarah Finnegan, one of the leaders for the LSU Tigers. They're playing host to the Alabama Crimson Tide, number 10 versus number 2 in Baton Rouge. It'll also be streaming live on the ESPN app. Again, right after we are done, we're going straight there for what will be an outstanding competition. As Alicia Boren, she competed on the uneven bars, and here she is again on vault.
Yurchenko 1.5. Hiked her hips on that landing a little bit, trying a little too early to stick, but that's a big start value for her. Entry onto the table, a little bit crooked on that springboard, leg separation in as she hits the table. Pulls her head down, trying to anticipate that landing. Again, the judges don't have that best slow-mo view that we get, so they may not see that like we do.
We get the hypercritical view with all the little deductions, but that was a great vault. She's trying to build on Sierra Alexander's 9.85, so scores building for Florida. We'll see if that is happening over on the uneven bars for Ella Warren as Corey Reckenmacher, one of the seniors for the Kentucky Wildcats, goes, and she's following a 9.725, so bar score is tough to come by here tonight.
They are really not giving anything away there. Big straddle Jaeger with a fall.
The first big break of the night. Now this is critical. Each team puts up 6 gymnasts on each event. and the top 5 scores count. So they can drop the score, but the rest of the gymnasts have to hit.
She flipped and was above the high bar. It just looked like she laxed her body and didn't have the bar fully in her hands as she went to go for the underswing, to proceed to go to a kip. Now she has 30 seconds to get back on the bar after she has fallen. They get to chalk up, take a second, collect themselves, and hopefully...
She's definitely taking her sweet time here. She's using all of that 30 seconds.
There's no rush. It's not like you're going to get the fall back.
Yeah,
You might as well just collect yourself and be ready to go.
And it's critical. She gets back up and she finishes clean because you don't know what's going to happen behind you.
Falls happen to everybody. It's about how you continue on from that. You can't give up any more deductions to the judges, and it's a challenge all in itself to be able to mentally keep it together as you finish that routine. She fought for it. I got to give her respect for that. Just that small hop on that, or step on that landing and the dismount.
Kentucky's got 3 gymnasts to go on that event. They certainly are going to need 3 hits and hope to drop that score. Tim Garrison has some words. Those things happen. As we're looking at the judges on vault, having a conference, not totally sure how much they could be talking about over there. I think
she's looking lightened after that.
I'm pretty sure that Alicia and I had that score before she stepped off the mat, but I'm thinking it's going to be right around a 9-9. We'll see what the judges think as Kennedy Baker gets ready to vault. She is a senior, and talk about just top to bottom, All-Americans, NCAA champions, national team members. Kennedy Baker fits that mold.
Kennedy gets some major ups in her tumbling and her vaults. It's one of my favorite things to watch about her is how powerful she is.
So Alicia Boren, a 9.875, so very close to that coveted 9-9 score.
Big Yurchenko, 1.5, just so much power. She's vaulted harder vaults than that, and sometimes to dial it back, it's a little bit hard.
She's high-fiving her teammates, but that
Look
is
at her
a
face.
stone
She's so
face.
mad.
She wanted a stuck landing, and that was a huge hop. And you know what? The coach is going to tell Kennedy, it's look, hey, we don't have to stick landings in January.
Right.
We need to just get better, and we need to stick landings in March and April to win the big prize. And every time you go, it's a learning experience. And now Tim Garrison is having a conversation with the bar judges. Looks like Corey Reckenmacher put up a 9.175. So we knew that was going to be a low score. We also knew that's going to be a score that Kentucky's going to want to drop. And with the big vaults that Florida is doing, they are going to need 3 big scores if they want to maintain that .15 lead. And you can see the 3 scores. You know, I always think, Alicia, the 9-7 scores, those are ones that are going to kind of put you back a little. 9-8 scores, they keep you in it. 9-9 plus scores help you win it. And so we need some big ones here, or Kentucky rather needs some big ones here in their bar rotation as Katrina Coca mounts.
Kip pass handstand, blind change, straddle Jaeger. Overshoot handstand. On bars, you're looking sure, you want to make sure you hit those handstands, you have good form, doing everything with clean lines, and obviously stick that landing like she was trying to do. Looks like her legs just weren't ready for the mat when her feet hit the landing. The release move, the hard value skill, performed above the high bar. Full twisting, double back, 2 flips, 1 twist. Just was a little bit unprepared there.
Rachel Slocum, senior out of Holly Springs, North Carolina, and Sunshine Gymnastics is the 5th gymnast up. She's following Kennedy Baker's 9.825.
Rachel performs a little different vault than the rest of her teammates. She's a front entry for handspring pike half. A little bit of a baby releve, maybe wasn't even a step or a hop, but that is a 10.0 start value again. It is front entry, front flip, pike half, small hop back. Big vault. I love front handspring vaults. I vaulted them. They're not for everybody. Just getting all jazzed up. Kennedy's not so jazzed up. Still upset about that landing.
Beautiful vault. I want to hear more from Lauren Sisler. Lauren?
Hey, you know, Coach decided on team captains this year, and how he did it was doing an entire team poll, asking 6 questions. Who would you like to follow? Who would you put up as your last person to win a meet for you? They went with Molly Korth, Sydney Dukes, and Alex Highland. Those were the 3 girls that scored the most points. Not only do they provide leadership in the gym during competition, they're asked to run meetings and to be vocal leaders as the team prepares each and every day in the gym.
Thanks, Lauren. This is sophomore Elena Kwan from Cypress, California. Katrina Coca got a 9.7 for her bar routine.
Line change. Straddle Jaeger was just too far from the bar.
And this is complete disaster. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. 2 major breaks in 1 rotation. They are going to have to count a fall, and right now they may have to count that 9.175.
Big skill above the bar, and she could have just reached a little bit more and got it. It looks like she thought she had it and then just wasn't close enough.
And maybe just didn't have enough of that dowel over the bar, and this is critical. Now she's got to get up and hit clean because they are going to count a miss, but you want the miss to be as good of a miss as you can get.
Realistically, you're looking at a 5/10 deduction for the fall, and you don't want to give anything else after that. So anything from a 9.4, 9.5 would be great with counting a fall like that. She repeated the skill to the immediate connection and made a mistake there too. Didn't have enough momentum to control that kip afterwards. Blind change to full, that was late to immediate double back. Try to control that landing a little bit better. Just unraveled a bit.
So rough bars for Kentucky. Sunday, we'll have another We Back Pat women's basketball matchup for you as number 11 Missouri hosts Arkansas right here on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. So Kentucky struggles on bars. Meanwhile, Florida is rolling on vault. Rachel Slocum at 9.925, and that just sets up Alex McMurtry, and this young lady can fly, and she can put up a big number and an exclamation point on this rotation.
Alex has huge power on this event. Just performs a Yurchenko full with a baby hop. She is capable of doing a double full, but she battles with some back injuries, so she just throws it when she needs to, which will be closer to postseason.
And I don't think people realize how incredible this vault is.
That's amazing. Like, she's so high, so far, like perfectly straight. Other athletes, you'll see them pike, try to anticipate the landing. That was just textbook.
The Gators knew they were in for a battle, and through 2 rotations, they answered the bell. And meanwhile, the Kentucky Wildcats are on the rope. And sophomore Molly Korth, the reigning freshman of the year in the SEC, a lot of pressure on her. And I know it's only the 2nd rotation, but if Molly Korth should have a major break in this routine, it could take any chance Kentucky has of winning this competition for only the 2nd time in their history over the Florida Gators.
You could see her face when showing them her teammate in the chalk bucket, and she was trying to get back on the bar for her bar routine, and she's just, you know, Molly's as serious as a heart attack. She is very competitive, and you could just tell by her demeanor she wants to hit, and she wants her teammates to hit, and she's holding them accountable, which I appreciate that about her as a leader.
And she's got the eye of the tiger for sure. You saw her parents, Kevin and Sean, on the sidelines. Kevin is the super fan. He goes to every one of her meets. Doesn't matter. He's in the car. He's driving, and he's here again. We had a chance to meet him last year, and he's a lot of fun. Never mind that he brings gifts to us in the production truck, which we appreciate. Obviously, the judges are fretting over Elena Kwan's routine, and it tends to be, in the judges' defense, these routines that go sideways and have a lot of errors, which unfortunately Elena Kwan's routine did. It gets that much more difficult to judge. The best routines are the easiest.
Of course.
They got the fewest deductions in them.
I bet the biggest thing they're probably conversing over is, well, she repeated that skill so she could have the connection. What happened after that with it being low and short?
Meanwhile, Alex McMurtry for that humongous, beautiful vault. She gets a 9.9 on a vault that starts from a 9.95, so almost a perfect execution for her. Judges just took a 0.5 on that hop she had. So for the Florida Gators, they are rolling. Through 2, they look good. Maybe not the scores they were hoping for on bars, but
they definitely made up for it on vault.
They definitely made up for it on vault. Now a lot of pressure on sophomore Molly Korth. Elena Kwan scored an 8.9. So as of right now, they are counting Corey Reckenmacher's 9.175. In fact, they will count Corey Reckenmacher's 9.175. It's now up to Molly Korth to get things right for Kentucky.
Mounting up to the high bar. Nice tight line change to tight Jaeger. Making sure she hit that handstand on the high bar. A little bit too much speed on that shoot over, causing her to be a little bit short of vertical. Building up momentum for that dismount. Full twisting double leg. That's the type of routine you need to get things back on track.
And that is, she's like a veteran, and she's only in the beginning of her sophomore year. Unreal.
She is the definition of a competitor.
When all the pressure's on, Kentucky trying to make a statement here. After 2 misses, she nails it. Kevin loves it. Lauren Sisler is with head coach Jenny Rowland.
Hey, Coach, first and foremost, it looked like the scores were a little low there on bars. What happened?
You know, it wasn't our best performance. A few missed opportunities. However, scores, it's not anything that we can control. Something that our team, we don't focus on. We've got to take it one routine at a time, one event at a time, and continue to move forward.
You guys push forward. It shows on vault. Rachel Slocum coming up with a 9.925 after sitting the vault down last week. Just your thoughts overall on the performance of these girls to come back and heading in these finals 2 rotations.
I think our vault performance was way better than it was the last two meets, so that was really good to see. Girls are settling in a little bit, nerves are calming down a little bit. Still a few landings we can work on, but overall they did a great job tonight.
Thanks so much and best of luck.
Thanks, Lauren. The goals for the Kentucky Wildcat program have changed. They want to win a national championship, and we'll talk about the big plans when we come back.
Accomplished so much last year, and there's just going to be more to come, so I think they should be on the lookout for us.
We want to do the things that a Kentucky program has never done.
That's who we want to be, and we get to be measured every weekend and see if that's who we are.
We can beat these bigger teams, and we know we can be better.
We're capable of so much more as a program and as a team than we thought, and we just need to keep building on it.
Let's get this done, let's work our butts off, and let's be a Kentucky team that everyone remembers.
Kentucky finished the season last year with their highest ever ranking at 14th. Now they are number 6th ranked in the country, the highest in school history, Alicia.
That's thanks to athletes like Molly Korth and Alex Highland. Molly is the reigning SEC Freshman of the Year, and then Alex Highland, she's maybe the best beam worker in the SEC that you don't really know about. She's currently the SEC beam champion.
They've done an outstanding job, outstanding program, and Lauren has more on the momentum of the Kentucky team.
Hey, you know, one thing that always impresses me is the amount of fans that show up to these gymnastics meets, especially here in the SEC. Not disappointing here at Memorial Coliseum tonight with all these fans. Come on, guys, get excited. We're about to head into the final 2 rotations here. These guys excited. And as you can see, Tim Garrison in his 7th season as head coach, those numbers rising exponentially. And not only do these fans show up, Coach Garrison says these fans are knowledgeable. They know more about this sport. And as you guys know, it's a great spectator sport, but even better when these guys know exactly what is going on there on the floor.
Thanks, Lauren. Next rotation, Sydney Dukes will lead Kentucky on balance beam. Meanwhile, Alicia Boren tries to keep things rolling for Florida on floor exercise. Kentucky Wildcats here in Lexington, Kentucky, and things just got a whole lot tougher for the home team. Kentucky has fallen behind by over a point. That is a lot in women's collegiate gymnastics for them to make up, and they are going to have to make up ground while they go to the toughest event in women's gymnastics, the balance beam, and they are going to have to almost be perfect the rest of the way. Certainly anything can happen when both teams still have to do beam. Florida's got to finish on beam, which is always tough. You can see the lineup for Kentucky. Katie Stewart will lead things off for the Wildcats.
Beam is so mental, and especially coming off not the best bar rotation. I want to see Kentucky attack this event and be aggressive and just not be afraid to make a mistake, because that's when you'll see mistakes happen, when you're trying to be too timid and hold back instead of going all out.
And you can't hold back at this point. You got nothing to lose if you're Kentucky. You just got to let it all hang out, relax, take a deep breath, and hope for the best. And meanwhile, for Florida, you heard Jenny Rowland. Vault was much better than last week. They are picking things up. And the one thing about Florida, if they get momentum, just get out of the way. They are a juggernaut because they have got the horses in the stable, and one of the best in the country, defending all-around champ Alex McMurtry right there. She will not do floor. She did floor for the first time last season, right at the end of the season. Because of that back, you can see the heating pad on her back. They just play it safe with her. Meanwhile, a couple weeks later, she just goes and wins the NCAA title. So an amazing athlete. And here's Katie Stewart out of Sewanee, Georgia, in Gymnastics Training Center.
A little bit of a cover-up that could have been a balance check, but she covered it up with her arm dance. On balance beam, you have a minute and a half to perform your required skills and build bonus points to start from a 10.0. Going for her acro series of a back handspring, step out, lay out, step out. Fighting to stay square on the beam and not move her body to get a deduction. Cat jump, aerial to back full, stuck. So that is a good first routine to start off with, especially after a shaky last rotation. Kentucky really needed that.
Outstanding way to start. Katie put up a 9.875, her high of the year. Actually, is a 9.875, and that would look very good to the Wildcats as a starting score. Now, we saw Rachel Slocum on vault. She smoked it. Scored over a 9.9, and what a fun gymnast to watch. She is the motivator on their team every day in the gym. Jenny Rowland says this kid is up, and she brings it, and she's got the enthusiasm and has a chance to start it off for the Gators on Florida.
Starting off with a whip back handspring, double pike. That is a requirement. You need to have a 2 salto pass, which means you need to have more than one type of flip in a single pass. Torjete half, wolf full. You get bonus points not only from your tumbling, but from your dance combinations too. So sometimes you'll see leaps, turns, and jumps, helping to build toward that coveted 10.0 start value. Front full punch, front pike. Rachel, so animated, all smiles. You can't help but laugh when she's starting to work a robe. Front handspring, laid out 1.5. Strong first hit for Florida.
Coming up right after us, we'll send you to the Pete Maravich Center in Baton Rouge. That's Nikki Guerrero for Alabama. Our Friday Night Heights doubleheader continues with number 10 Alabama taking on number 2 LSU right here on the SEC Network. It'll also be streaming live on the ESPN app. Man, that's going to be a fun one to watch as Molly Korth tries to build on the 9.775 Katie Stewart started with. A little low.
That's low in my opinion. These judges are being a little bit tougher than expected.
Well, the thing is, I think they're being tough across the board at least. As long as they're tough for everybody.
One arm back handspring, layout step out. Molly wouldn't say beam is her best event, but that doesn't mean she's not great at it. It's just probably not her favorite. I can understand that mindset. It's definitely challenging. Switch leap, back tuck.
There's a freeway.
Prepping for her dismount. Round off, double full stick. Kentucky's looking to make up for what happened on bars.
I mean, aside from the scores, they can't do anything better than they've done in these first two routines. Lauren Sisler's got more on a little bit of a tradition for the Florida Gators on floor exercise.
Yeah, that Gator Chomp has become synonymous with the Florida athletic program, whether home or away, and now it's become a signature move that you will see in each of the 6 floor routines out on the floor tonight. Now, you won't see it as much tonight, but when the Gators are in front of their home crowd, it's pretty cool. Some of the fans actually memorize exactly where that Gator Chomp is, and they will hit it right on cue.
This is Amelia Hunley, second up for Florida. She follows Rachel Slocum's 9.825.
Amelia just got back in the lineup. She had a little bit of a rough landing last week, and she was nursing some hurt ankles, which happens. I don't think you're a normal gymnast without that, having some hurt ankles.
Every gymnast goes through it at some point.
Whip to double back. Close to that out of bounds line, but she stayed in. Switch side, straddle full. Cuts it real close to the corner right before she starts tumbling. It gives me a little bit of anxiety. 1.5, punch front layout. There's that Gator Chomp Lauren was just telling us about. All she has left is this tumbling pass. Around up back handspring, double pike. A little bit short, but she saves it, gets it all the way around. And just has that step forward.
She's a fighter. She is a former national team member. She competed at the 2016 Olympic trials, so she knows how to get things done.
This is that Gator Chomp we told you to keep an eye out for. Teammates supporting her along the way.
I love it. You know, it's a performance. 100%. Why not have some fun? Put some elements in there that get the crowd into it, get your teammates into it. And that is one thing about Amelia Hunley. She is always smiling. Now, Haley Poland is following Molly Korth, 9.875. That is a career high for Molly Korth.
During balance beam, what judges are looking for and what we're looking for here as well is the connections that are performed, whether that be a tumbling or dance connection. Acro skills that she's preparing to do right now, like this is a back handspring, layout step out is known as an acro skill, and then balance checks. Things that are done when you're trying to save yourself from falling off the beam. And handspring step out. Not gonna lie, I thought she was really cold at first because of her blue lipstick, and then I realized it was lipstick, and I was like, Alicia, get it together.
I like it. I like it.
Gainer back pike off the beam. Stuck landing.
3 for 3 on the
3
stuck
for 3.
landings for Kentucky on beam.
Big bonus points for this right here. Back handspring step up, layout step out. Remember, that thing is just 4 inches wide, and you're required to stay on it, hopefully. And that stuck dismount, as long as you can land with your feet wide enough apart to get your heels together when you salute, there will be no deduction.
Jenny Rowland describes this young lady as amazingly talented and a cool cat. She can handle anything. It's freshman Jasmine Faubourg. All she did was come out in her first meet of the year as a freshman and win Freshman of the Week honors in the SEC.
Round out back handspring, full twisting double back, nails it.
Amelia Hunley's score was a 9.725 in the second spot.
Front handspring, front full, front pike. Got close to that corner, but she made sure she stayed in. All right, I see you, Jasmine. She's working the camera bit, having fun out there. Gymnastics is a year-round sport, even though we're only competing in the winter or spring semesters in college. You're training year-round to make sure you stay in shape and stay healthy for when the time comes. Last tumbling pass, round out back handspring, big double tuck. Coach loves it. Look at the assistant coach in the background, Adrian.
That is going to be a huge number. What a floor team. Florida is not giving Kentucky any space.
That big double tuck. Coach could have walked underneath back and forth twice, and she cleared her.
3 for 3 for Florida on floor. Now Lauren's got a little more on the coaching staff on balance beam for Kentucky.
You know, Tim Garrison might be the head coach here at Kentucky, but his wife, Rachel, now an assistant in her 3rd year, runs the show over on balance beam. Tim told us that he prefers to leave things to her. As you can see, he's kind of over there in the corner watching. She's got a little bit of a longer leash, and what he means by that is he kind of lets the girls ride this thing out. If they're having trouble, just let them settle into that role, as opposed to him, he tends to like to make changes really quickly. He says this is really the shot in the arm that this program needed in having his wife, Rachel, here.
Thanks, Lauren. This is Elena Kwan. We saw all the problems she had on the uneven bar. She struggled a bit on beam as well earlier this season. We'll see if she can get those jitters out because Kentucky is having an outstanding beam rotation. You can see the two scored in the 9/8. They'd love to drop that 9.775 they let off with.
Elena seems a little bit more in her element on balance beam. Maybe bar stresses her out a little bit more than the other events, but she seems more confident here. Jump, aerial, back full, stick.
Another one. So she forgets about the bar. You got to have a short memory in this sport.
It's bonus to have these elements connected. Aerial to back full, showing off that she stuck that landing.
Rachel Garrison clearly doing a great job on the balance beam. Now Florida, Jasmine Faubourg gets a 9.825. Man, if they would have put a 9.9 up, I would not have been shocked for that floor team. It was outstanding. Now, another former national team member and a world champion member of the 2014 U.S. team that won the gold medal, Alyssa Bauman.
Alyssa struggled a little bit in tumbling in warm-up. Big double tuck for that first tumbling pass. She was actually supposed to be a freshman last year, but had an injury right before season, so she ended up taking a redshirt year and then coming in this season ready to go, so she didn't lose any eligibility. Round round off, 1.5 punch front full. Difficult tumbling pass there.
Yeah, she struggled with an elbow injury, and it was something that, you know, some doctors thought she might not compete again, but she worked very hard along with her mother's help on her rehab, and it's good to see her on the floor. She is a fun gymnast to watch, and she's got a bright future at Florida.
Switch half, straddle full. Alyssa has beautiful flexibility. Last tumbling pass, round off back handspring, big double pike, and she nailed it.
Smoke that double pike.
That's what she struggled with in warm-up. She opened up a little early and landed short, and she just was not going to let that happen again.
And it was right in front of us, and it was just exclamation point right here.
Knew exactly where she was. Great routine by Alyssa.
All smiles for the Gators. Now back over to balance beam. Elena Kwan puts up a 9.825. Now Sydney Dukes last week wins this event with a 9.9. Despite how good these routines have been on beam, no one has yet broken the 9.9 barrier.
Her acro series, the back handspring that step up. Trying to stay perfectly square. Front aerial to deep jump. Switch leap straddle quarter. Dismount round off, 1.5 stick. I mean, you've got to be kidding me right now. That is impressive.
It's almost like they had to get their jitters out on bars and just get it behind them and be done with it, because they can't do much better than they've done on beam.
Her acro series, trying to keep those shoulders square, and her showcasing her flexibility. That is a 180 split. That is exactly what the judges want to see when you're doing dynamic leaps and jumps.
So the smiles back on the sidelines for the Wildcats on floor exercise. We got a little bit of a waiting game again. Maybe that new scoring system, maybe early season judging, getting the kinks out. But Alyssa Baumann looks like she put up a 9.85. Still, no 9.9 pluses in this rotation yet, as Alicia Boren takes the floor.
Alicia has some huge tumbling. Warm-up was great for her. I'm excited to see her tumbling get going here. Round up back handspring. Double layout.
Wow.
That is big. Breaking it down a bit.
Pretty sure she stole those moves from me.
John, you look better doing it. She looks good doing it, but you look great doing it. A 1.5 to punch from the connection pass there.
Alicia's done all around in both meets so far this year. Her lowest score at 9.775, and all of her other scores have been 9.85 or better. So she has been so vital early in the season for the Gators.
Teammates in the back cheering her on. Deep breath before that tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double tug. And the gator jump. Closing out that stellar floor routine.
And who says gymnastics is not a team sport? Look at this.
Finish that routine strong with a big double tuck. Showing it off with a little head throw back at the end.
If that doesn't break a 9-9 on floor, I don't know what's going to. Meanwhile, we have a 9-9 sighting on beam. Sydney Dukes, back-to-back weeks with 9-9 scores, and now they finish the rotation with Alex Highland, the SEC co-champ, on the balance beam.
Switch leap split jump. Cat jump. Front aerial to immediate back handspring layout step out. Difficult connection pass there. Full turn. Alex is either singing to herself on the beam or talking to herself on the beam. Either is possible.
I think she's singing.
I've been guilty of both. I get it. Sometimes you need to like give yourself a little bit of a distraction as you're going through your routine. She's definitely singing. This is awesome. Aerial, back full, stuck.
And I tell you what, I know who's got bragging rights in the Garrison household tonight. It's Rachel Garrison. What a job from her beam team.
Beautiful. Oh yeah, that's what you're looking for. Nothing better than a stuck landing on a beam routine after a hit.
And they've got a big hill to climb to catch Florida, but you know what? You can only control what you can control, and that was 6 beam routines, and they nailed it. Now, one more to go on floor for the Gators. Kennedy Baker, she's scored a 10 on this event twice, and she's following Alicia Boren's 9.875, so does not break that 9-9.
Kennedy opens up her floor routine with a very difficult tumbling pass. Round up by handspring, a radian double pike. It's a half twist with a front double flip. It's insane, and she had so much height. I would have to say, I think Florida may have the most fun during their floor routines out of all the teams we've seen thus far.
Hey, all I know is I'm having a good time over here.
I'm having fun watching them.
This is good stuff.
Round up back handspring, double tuck. Oh yeah, team doing it alongside her. Nice switch leap to switch leap full. Last tumbling pass. Round off, 1.5, punch, half, straddle jump. Great floor rotation for Florida.
I tell you what, man, that was a fun routine. Not sure what the judges are going to do with it. They've been tight, but take a look at this.
She knocks them all over with her sass. They get back up. They're going to do it with her. They don't mind. The connection pass of the round off, 1.5, big straddle jump. Stellar performance by Kennedy Baker.
So what a fun rotation. Florida on floor exercise, man, they are having a good time. Looks like Kennedy Baker is getting her ankles worked on.
Nope, just cutting off some tape.
Cutting off some tape.
Sometimes you put it a little too tight where you need to get that bad boy off right away.
Lauren Sisler's with Tim Garrison. Lauren?
Coach, a tough go on bars, but you bounce right back on balance beam 6 for 6. How did you prepare the girls for that?
Yeah, you obviously never want your team to struggle, but obviously it's going to happen at some point. How they respond is very important, especially when we go down the stretch toward the end of the season. 6 for 6 on beam, they responded really well. So I'm happy with that. Now we got to finish this thing off the right way.
Thanks so much, Coach.
So we're going to the last rotation. Florida is in control, but they've got to go to the balance beam. It's going to be a fun last rotation. When we come back, we're going to take a look around the greatest conference in women's gymnastics, the SEC. Ranked Kentucky Wildcats, and it is a 1-point difference after 3 rotations. Kentucky shaved just a little bit off that lead that Florida had after 2. They got a lot of work to do. Around the SEC, 7 SEC teams are ranked in the top 20 after a couple weeks of the season. What a conference, so tough. In that first week of the season, record crowds turn out for openers at LSU, Florida, and Alabama. These crowds keep growing and growing, and meanwhile, Georgia hosted defending national champion Oklahoma Monday. They put up a much better score in their second meet, did Georgia, and boosted themselves to the 13th ranking. And Alicia, a lot of great performances in week 1.
Maya Hamburg from LSU is the gymnast of the week because she had the highest all-around in the conference. Then we moved on to Kiana Winston with the specialist, taking top honors in 3 events, and then Sarah Schaefer and Ella Warren shared co-freshman of the week for their performances.
So it was week 1 for some teams, week 2 for others. Meanwhile, down at LSU, Kiana Winston and the Alabama Crimson Tide, they come in ranked number 10. They are visiting the number 2 team in the country, the LSU Tigers, and Maya Hambrick. What a season she is having so far. She had a great year last year, but I think she's upping it a little bit this year. They want that first ever national championship. So they are coming up next right after this. And coming up here, Rachel Gowie will finish things off for the Gators on the balance beam. And meanwhile, man, Molly Korth, you can't shake her. She'll be on floor. Welcome back to Memorial Coliseum. Our score through 3 rotations, 147.6. 1 point ahead of Kentucky with a 146.6. Now our belt competing with style performances so far through this competition. Rachel Gowie on the uneven bars in the first rotation for Florida puts up a 9.825 on an event that was tough to get big scores. That was a nice one. Now Rachel Slocum, outstanding job for the Gators on vault, puts up a huge 9.925, and then they just started rolling. Amazing performance for the whole floor exercise rotation, but Kennedy Baker puts an exclamation point on the end with a 9.9. What a fun routine. Now back into the 4th rotation. Florida will start off on beam. Now they do have a 1-point lead. That's a big lead, but they are on beam, Alicia. Anything can happen on beam. Kentucky is absolutely going to need some help, which means Florida's going to have to make some mistakes if Kentucky's going to steal this competition. And there is one.
I think you just jinxed her, John.
Right on cue. Tell her I apologize. That is big, especially for the first gymnast up.
Front aerial to back handspring. It's unfortunate because she was in the running for the all-around.
She was tied with her teammate Alicia Boren just behind Molly Korth. And that just puts pressure on the next 5 gymnasts. You can see the lineup there. Every one of them knows Kennedy Baker had a miss, and they cannot afford another one. Kentucky is knocking on the door. They would love their chance to steal this, and that's exactly what they would be doing, stealing a win, because Florida is in control right now.
Aerial back full, stuck dismount. It almost looked like her toes got stuck as she was trying to perform her turn, and then you can't do anything really about that if your toes are stuck. So it's an unfortunate fall for Kennedy Baker. I've seen her excel in that event many times.
So opportunity knocked. Can Haley Poland open the door for the Kentucky Wildcats? She'll be leading off.
Starting on floor for Kentucky, Haley Poland.
You can see that floor average of a 9.787. I gotta think they are gonna have to put up just about their best score of the season from every gymnast if they want to put some pressure on Florida, even with that mistake from Kennedy Baker.
Front tuck step out, front handspring front, 1.5. A little bit scooching back on those steps. Trying to cover it up by going into the dance, but judges probably will get her for that. Tumbling pass. Front handspring, front double full. Switch side, straddle full. Building up some bonus points with this connecting of those jumps. Strong start for Kentucky on floor.
Next week, we will bring you more Friday Night Heights. First at 7 Eastern Time, it's number 13 Georgia and number 11 Arkansas. Then at 8:30, it's number 6 Kentucky and number 18 Auburn. Right here on the SEC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. Every week in the SEC, it is a great gymnastics matchup. Now Megan Skaggs, the pressure is on this young lady following Kennedy Baker's miss, a 9.175. So it's not catastrophic. They got a whole point to work with, but another mistake is certainly going to put this meet neck and neck, assuming Kentucky can continue to hit.
Performed the same skill Kennedy Baker just fell on. It's a very difficult turn. Switch leap, split jump. Acro series, back handspring, step out, layout, step out. Crooked fighting to stay on.
And at some point, you got to think the nerves start to get to you with these little wobbles.
It's never easy ending on balance beam.
Or starting on it, or doing it
or
in the
doing
middle.
it in general. With beams anywhere, it's not easy.
Jenny Rowland describes Megan Skaggs as the hardest worker she's ever seen, and that is saying something because Jenny Rowland has been involved with this sport a long time.
Stuck dismount. They may be having some mistakes here and there, but they are not giving anything else away after that.
This meet is still theirs to win. They just got to stay on this balance beam.
Her acro series, the back handspring step out, layout step out. She just didn't give full effort on that landing. It's like she relaxed too soon.
So 2 done for Florida. Over on floor exercise, Haley Poland puts up a 9.8 in the first spot. Now this is freshman Ella Warren in maybe one of the most pressure-packed routines of her young collegiate career so far.
She's co-freshman of the week this past week. Front handspring laid out, double full. Nice form, well controlled. Side straddle full. For a freshman, she seems very poised and control when she competes. Front handspring, 1.5, back layout. Looking for another hit with this last tumbling pass. Front handspring, front full, front layout. Great showing for freshmen.
The home team loves it.
A little bit crooked on that straddle. She's technically fully open, but her legs aren't even, which will be a slight deduction.
Oh, come on. It happens too fast. They didn't see that.
Yes, you can. I saw that in real time. It's not about how open it is, it's crooked.
The critical eye always gets the benefit of the doubt. All right, and back over to balance beam. Now, Megan Skaggs put up a 9.8. That is big, because if they can continue to hit that 9.175 they started with will not matter. And Alicia Boren mounts the balance beam. You can see the all-around fight is now down to these two young ladies. Molly Korth with a slight lead.
Back handspring, step out, layup, step out. Switch leap, straddle jump. Oh. I always tell the girls I coach, or anybody in general, about balance beam. The secret to staying on balance beam is having tight arms. So if you have set tight arms and they're supposed to be where they are, so easy to stay on. But if you relax your upper body just for a second, it's going to pull you off from being straight.
I find it hard to believe the term "so easy" relates to anything on balance beam.
It's all relative, John.
Tough event.
Strong dismount. I mean,
so
the
a few
routine
little
was nice.
things, but you know, it's good enough at this point.
It's a hit. Balance checks and wobbles and
Nailed
these
that.
little things, they add up. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Oh, I would say that's 180. And then that straddle jump, she just relaxed too soon.
What are the judges going to do with that wobble, do you think? How much?
A tenth and a half, maybe more, depending on, I mean, they've been tough all night, so maybe more.
This is senior Corey Reckenmacher. You can see Floor's not been too kind to her yet this season, but if she's ever going to put a big one up, she needs to do it right now. She follows Ella Warren's 9.85. So big score so far for Kentucky.
Round off whip back handspring stop. She crunched, the whip back was a little bit too high and she wasn't ready to be able to continue on the tumbling pass. That's going to be a big deduction. She's going to be missing required skills and bonus points.
This has not been Corey Reckenmacher's night. She has struggled on bars as well, put up a 9.175 there. And
second tumbling pass. Round off back handspring, double pike.
nailed that. So both of these teams in the final rotation have a major break. They both flinch. This time it's Corey Reckenmacher on floor.
Finished the routine strong with a big double pike. A little bit low with that landing on the chest, but it had good height in the skill. Not exactly what you want out of a senior.
Corey Reckenmacher in 2015 was the first all-SEC freshman team, was on the first all-SEC freshman team, first time in team history along with her teammate Sydney Waltz. So she's had a great career here at Kentucky. And now the leader in the nation on balance beam is up next for Florida. This is Rachel Gowie. She's tied on this event for the top spot in the country with Sarah Finnegan, who you'll see competing right after we're done here.
Switch leap, split jump. Back handspring, step out, layup, step out, layup, step out. Very difficult three-skill series.
Beautiful.
Front aerial to Sassone. The required full turn. She makes Beam look easy, like she's doing it on the floor. Gainer, full off the side to his stick.
And she put up a 9.95 last week, Alicia. I'm sorry, I'm not the expert you are, but find me more than half attempt deduction in this routine.
I honestly couldn't give that to you either. I think she is going to be either putting up a closer score, if not a higher score than she did last week.
And that is why she is leading the country on that event. What a fun routine to watch. Alicia Boren scored 9.75, so you can see they are very deftly avoiding counting that 9.175 so far on the beam rotation. Now waiting for Corey Reckenmacher's score. As we said before, anytime there's a mistake, it always gets tougher to come up with that score. Alex Highland waiting in the wings.
I bet they're struggling over what her start value will be with missing some requirements by not doing her full tumbling pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next on for Kentucky, Alex Highland.
You know, it is early in the season. There's been a lot of hype around this Kentucky team, and maybe this hasn't been their best night, but I still stand by what a lot of people around the country are saying is this team is going to be there at the end of the season. They're going to be fighting, I think, for a spot in that Super Six, right in that area.
I agree. One bad competition isn't going to make or break your season this early on, at least.
And for the Florida Gators, I tell you what, they're the real deal. And they haven't had a perfect competition either tonight, but you can see they have got the horses in the stable that they are going to contend for a national championship. You can print it. I don't care how you put it on your ink. They're going to be there.
Their potential is great, for sure.
This is Friday Night Heights, brought to you by Belk, home of modern Southern style, the official retail department of the SEC. So they are still conferring. And I guess, you know, if this was the last routine of the night, you could kind of say just put a score up. It's not going to matter. But with more gymnastics to go, Tim Garrison hopes they don't have to count this score, but that might be the situation they're in. So these judges got to make sure they're dotting their T's and crossing their I's, as they say.
The conversing is the worst. Alex Highland was standing there waiting. They announced her over the PA. Good thing she didn't try to salute and start. Could have a similar situation of she's starting to go and these judges aren't ready. But she was smart enough to, I'm just going to go get some chalk and kill some time until they're ready to.
And one of the worst things as a gymnast, I hated waiting.
It's the worst.
And I've gone up in high pressure situations where you're standing there and you have a routine before your routine. I think a lot of times, don't you, Alicia, where you go through it in your head, you chalk up, you take a breath, and you go. You have that timing down.
100%. You don't want to sit, like it's going to throw off your flow. I personally had it at the Olympics. Wasn't the best thing for me.
All right, I think they're ordering dinner now. Is that a menu?
I mean, it's not rocket science. Like, they've been doing this for a while. I think they just want to make sure they're being very exact.
Very thorough.
Very thorough.
The head coaches have been around long enough to know how this is how it goes sometimes. So we're waiting for Corey Reckenmacher's score. Just to update you, she had a miss. The first two gymnasts up for Kentucky had very nice routines, 9.8 and 9.85 for Haley Poland and Ella Warren, respectively. For Kentucky to pull this meet out, they are going to not only have to knock these last three routines out of the park, they're going to need one or both of the Florida Gators, who are last up on balance beam, to have mistakes to steal this one. Not a likely scenario, but man, it's gymnastic. We've seen some excitement in sports, Alicia, this week. I tell you what, just look at the NFL playoffs and you'd know that anything can happen in sports, and certainly that's what the Kentucky faithful here are going to be hoping for.
So we're getting that one judge scored an 8.6 and the other scored a 9.3. So there's going to be a little bit of a difference.
That is the Grand Canyon between those two scores.
It's an understatement. So they just converse, trying to figure out how one got that and the other got that. And one's being nice and one's not. Like, good cop, bad cop. I'm not sure what's going on there, but...
You know what? If you got a judges conference, just break out the Friday night dance party.
Right?
Alicia definitely, she's got the look on her face like she wants to get up and dance, but I think we're about to go with the next routine. Thankfully, the local crowd is saved from my dance moves as Alex Highland goes, and the judges finally settled on a 9.0 for Corey Reckenmacher.
That didn't take long at all. Alex is getting ready for her first tumbling pass. Big rounded backhand for double pike. Nailed that landing. Torjay half, Wolf 1.5. About you, John, but that dance whole combination she just did made me like very dizzy. Lots of cartwheels and twirls and.
I like it.
Round off 1.5 punch front layout. A lot of 2 tumbling pass routines from Kentucky. There's no requirement to do 3 tumbling passes. If you can get your bonus and required skills in 2, you only have to do 2.
And it looked like it may have paid off. That was a very clean routine. Alex Highlands had a nice night. She vaulted, put up a nice 9.825 there, and finish off that balance beam routine with a 9.9. And kudos to her for standing around that long and being able to get up there and do her job despite the weight. Pressure's on the last 2 gymnasts for Florida. Rachel Gowie, by the way, a 9.9. I'm not sure where that full 10th deduction came from, but nonetheless, a great score for her. Alyssa Bauman and Alex McMurtry have it all on their shoulders to close out this meet for the Gators.
That handspring step out, layout step out. Perfectly straight and square on the balance beam. This is a very strong back for Alyssa. Front aerial to Sisson. So far, so good for Alyssa Bauman, going for her dismount, round off, 1.5, stick in the step turn. So I'm gonna say she stuck that dismount and did the step turn in the nick of time.
Math has never been my strength, but this might actually be enough to clinch it for Florida. Alyssa Bauman gets her job done. Just Alex McMurtry yet to go. Before we go to Florida, let's go back to Lauren Sisler.
Yeah, Molly Court joined Kentucky. She was a late add last year, never got to work out in the preseason. I talked with her dad during the competition, and he said it was really hard for her not getting to experience the preseason, not understanding what it was like to compete on the college stage, knowing that each and every day you got to come in and compete for your spot. And this year, she's so much more confident that she's passed some of all that along to Ella Warren, who also missed the preseason this year, experiencing some of the same. Let's see here if she can clinch the all-around.
She just needs a 9.7 or better to clinch the all-around. She won a couple events last week. This would be a big win for her.
Molly opened up her routine with a huge double tuck. Was all smiles afterwards. Torjay half, straddle full. Front handspring, 1.5, punch layout, step out. teammates cheering her on, giving her the last little bit of encouragement she needs going into her last tumbling pass. Round up back handspring, double pike, nails it. Played it a little bit safe. Typically she has a full twisting double back in there somewhere. Took that out just for a solid, clean routine.
Kevin Korth loves it. Molly Korth loves it. Man alive, this kid is unflappable.
That 1.5 punch layout step out.
If she does not get a 9-7 or better on this floor routine and clinch the all-around, Alicia's buying Starbucks next time. That looks like a winner to me.
That's a 9-8-5 routine, is my guess.
Write that down. Write that down. 9-8-5. Now Alex McMurtry, defending NCAA all-around champion, finishes it off for the Gators. She follows Alyssa Bauman's 9.85.
Big skill of a front toss. It's an entry like a front aerial, but you have the landing like a front tuck. Back handspring, step out, layout, step out, fighting to stay on.
Oh.
Her back handspring looked wonky. As soon as her hands hit the beam, it's like her arms collapsed and she couldn't stay square to stay on. Switch leap. Shishinova to back hip circle on the beam. Round off. Big double full, small hop backwards. Maybe that waiting so long got her a little bit cold and she lost her warm-up.
So a lot of build-up between these two teams and not the best night, but Molly Korth, man, unreal. The kid just gets the job done. She wins the all-around, adds another career title, her 7th all-around title in only the beginning of her sophomore year. And now Sydney Dukes will finish off this rotation for Kentucky. The meet is going to get very tight, and I am not going to speculate on how close or if Kentucky has a win, but I know if they want a chance, this is going to have to be perfect.
First tumbling pass, round off back handspring, double pike.
So I'm being told even a 10.0 from Sydney Dukes here will leave them just shy of stealing this meet, but holy cow, did it get tight.
Beautiful switch ring to switch half. Front full, front layout. Finishing the routine with a big double back. Great set for Sydney Dukes. Kentucky loves it. Team's running out. Strong finish after a little bit shaky here and there, but they made it work.
And they fought, they battled after a rough bar rotation, came back strong on beam, strong on floor. They made it interesting in this last rotation, but I believe they're going to come up just shy behind Florida for the team title tonight. It would have only been the 2nd time in Kentucky history, Alicia, that they have beaten the Florida Gators.
It's unfortunate because they came back so close, and the scoring for Florida wasn't great, but they also didn't have their best showing. Both teams have room to improve. I'll be really interested to see how they do later on in the season.
Molly Korth wins the all-around here in Lexington, and Florida Gators win the team title. Not a great meet, but we got a great one coming up. So long for Alicia Sacramone. Quinn, I'm John Roethlisberger. Take it away, Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson going down to Baton Rouge for Alabama versus LSU.